Welcome to Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. I'm Rob Wilson.
And I am Tony the Quado.
Today we got a special guest again. We have our first repeat guest, our good friend Tim Robinson, the Timinator. Say hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim. Now, hey, what's going on, guys? And
we're so glad to have you back, dude.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back. And Rob said special. Does that mean
no?
What kind of special are we talking about?
We're not talking about special bus special. We're talking
that's why I wanted to make sure.
We're talking special sauce special. Okay.
This is the 2020s.
We're talking Big Mac special sauce.
Okay. Oh, that's good sauce. Okay, I'm good with that then.
Yes.
We maybe talked about the 90s, where when you said special, it would mean the short bus. But this is the 2020s now.
Yeah.
So we're in the new decade.
Yeah.
We're with the times.
I'm old.
Yes, you're. Maybe we should just start calling you Saturday Night Special. Anyway, yes, welcome back to the podcast, Tim. It is great to have you back.
I think this is a fitting episode for him to be back on as well.
I do too. I've
been excited about this one.
Yeah, Tim, you are probably the biggest hockey fan I've ever met.
Indeed, I am. I eat, sleep,
I would go a step further. Beyond just hockey, if you isolate the biggest baseball fan, biggest basketball fan, biggest football fan, and the biggest hockey fan, right? Take across those four. We'll put soccer in there also. We'll take the five.
Mm-hmm.
Tim and his passion for hockey would exceed their passions for those sports.
Combined.
Yes.
Yeah, that's accurate. That is absolutely accurate. And so that is why it is so fitting for you to be on this episode of the podcast. So why don't you go ahead, Tim, and tell everybody what we are talking about today?
We are talking about the Mighty Ducks.
The Mighty Ducks.
I'm talking Charlie Conway. I'm talking Coach Bombay. We're talking Mighty Ducks.
We're talking about the Oreo line.
The Oreo line.
The
Absolutely.
Oreo line. We're talking about the Flying V.
Yes, and let me tell you, as a hockey fan,
we're talking about
Disney. Disney, I love you, but in real hockey, if you see the Capitals go and try and the Flying V, they're going to get killed. It's not good.
Yes, it's a ridiculous formation on the ice, but
yeah,
it is.
But it's very camera friendly.
In 5 seconds.
It's very camera friendly.
Very camera friendly. The crazy thing about this movie too is so many of these kids, they were scattered throughout other Disney movies in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. They were.
We'll get into that.
Some of them were in them together.
A lot of them have actually gone on to do a bunch of things as adults too.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get into that. But yeah. And it's we did The Sandlot a few months back, which is a fairly universally beloved kids baseball movie. And Mighty Ducks is a fairly beloved universal hockey movie. And,
mm-hmm.
Even, I think it's interesting because hockey is not something that's accessible across to a lot of audiences, right?
Right.
Especially at the time when it came out, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
At least in the United States, right?
Yeah.
But people still loved it. Kids loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think it was the first hockey movie I ever saw, and I would wager to guess that was with a lot of kids. It was the first hockey movie that they saw.
I mean, the other big hockey movie before that was Slapshot, and there's no way kids were watching Slapshot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was The Cutting Edge,
no,
but
not.
That was more of a figure skating movie with a hockey player.
Yes, that was correct. Yeah, and I'm trying to remember. I think I probably first saw it with Tim.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw it in the theater.
I introduced Tony to the Ducks.
I probably saw it with Tim at his house.
Yeah, but had Tim seen it before that?
Yeah, Tim seen it in the theater.
Possibility.
The little Timmy go up to his daddy Daddy, take me to the hockey movie.
Actually, no, I think my dad wanted to see it. My dad probably
big Emilio fan, huh?
Want to see it. Huh?
Your dad's a big Emilio fan, huh?
He was a big hockey fan.
Did he just go and sit in the theater and the whole movie just yell, Emilio?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. You're cheering for the Hawks.
No, I saw this one in the theater in 92.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah, I saw this one in the movie theater in 92.
Wow.
I don't remember much about seeing it in the theater. I just remember that I saw it in the theater. And when it came out on video, I don't think that my family owned this one but we rented it a lot. I definitely had D2 and D3, The Mighty Ducks. So D2, The Mighty Ducks, and D3, The Mighty Ducks, because that was how they named sequels in the 90s.
This might come as a shock to you guys, but I had all three of the movies.
Never would have guessed.
See, I think I did see the second one in theaters. I definitely remember seeing the third one at the Dollar Theater with
Oh
Tim
my
and
goodness.
Joey.
Yes, the Dollar Theater. We're good old Sterling, Virginia.
Yeah.
By that time, they were all in high school, and the magic didn't work as well.
No, it
for them
didn't.
in high school.
It didn't. But yeah, I saw 2 and 3 way more than I saw 1. Just that, which is why I'm thinking that we didn't own 1. But I don't know why we would have 2 and 3 and not have 1.
Yeah.
But at the same time, growing up, we only had Back to the Future 3. We didn't have 1 or 2.
That's like reading the end of the book.
So the only time I could see 2 or 1 and 2 is, if we rented it or if it was on TV. So it might have been the same way. Yeah. So it may have been the same way with Mighty Ducks, where we own 2 and 3. I know I own 2 and 3, but yeah, I think 1, I either, after it came out, after it was out of the theater, the only way I could watch it was either when it was on TV or if we rented it.
Yeah.
So I definitely saw 2 and 3 way more than I saw 1.
Gotcha.
Way more often. But 2 was always cool because they were in the Olympics and whatnot.
No, that was one of the cool things about it. Yes.
The knuckle puck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everyone will have to do a knuckle puck.
And that's where Mighty Ducks 2 is where I learned that Greenland is full of ice and Iceland is very nice.
Very nice, yes. I will tell you, I still remember to this day being in Pee Wee hockey out in Reston, Virginia, and all the kids that practice trying the knuckle puck and it not working at all.
Why would it work?
It won't work.
I was
time
always
to set it up.
confused from Mighty Ducks 2 why they chose the team to be from Iceland.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
They made it seem like they would think that would make it intimidating, but no. Like,
I mean, if they were from
Easily
like
just
Norway or something, then sure, the bunch of Vikings.
I get it. Like, why you could easily go with Russia, but this is a few years after the fall of the Soviet Union. Tensions have kind of simmered.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not make the Russians the bad guys. Now, today, go ahead and make the Russians the bad guys.
No, if it was made today, they'd probably do like North Korea or something.
So, anyhow, that's Mighty Ducks 2, though.
Mm-hmm. Not Mighty Ducks 1. Mighty Ducks 1 is all within Minnesota.
Yes. And I was glad we watched this because it's been, I think, since high school.
Oh, it's been decades for me. Yeah, it's been decades for me.
And I remembered so much of it. I remember really, really, really well.
Yeah.
Like, I know most of the characters' names and the broad strokes, but there's some scenes in this that I completely forgot about. And there's scenes that, like, you would understand why as a 12-year-old that you thought this thing was, like, seriously hot shit.
Yeah. Wait, you didn't see it till you were 12?
No, I saw it.
Okay, so it came out in 92.
No, I saw it.
You were 9 when it came out. So
I'm saying within that age range of when you're watching it all those times.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It also introduced me to Emilio.
Yes. Yes. And it introduced the world of Joshua Jackson.
It did.
Who is actually quite popular now.
Yes.
Yes.
He's been in a lot of stuff lately.
He will only be Charlie Conway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every time I see him, I think Charlie Conway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always good to see MC Gainey.
No, like that's the one I forgot. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot MC Gainey's in this.
Yeah, he's driving. He's the driver in this, right?
Yes.
Which is fitting because he's the pilot in Con Air.
He is the pilot in Con Air.
So he's always driving something.
He drives some cars in Breakdown also.
Yes, he does.
He's a more gentle soul in this movie.
Yes. Actually, no. For 1 minute, he's not. When they're all in the limo on the ice and the one kid tries to steal his candy,
yes,
he gets very mad.
He's very protective of his candy.
I mean, like,
I don't blame him on that.
Yeah, no, me neither.
But
I would throw the kid out of the limo.
Eldon Henson was in this.
Although he was credited as Eldon Ratliff. He wasn't Henson
Yes.
yet.
And it's funny, like I remember him like being in he had the three Mighty Ducks movies, and he was in the Mighty, a bunch of things kind of like in the 90s, and then like the Butterfly Effect. And I hadn't seen him for years, and then he shows up
in Daredevil. Yeah. He did a great job in Daredevil too.
So he's kind of back in the spotlight. He was also in Killers of the Flower Moon last year. So
he was also
he's another
in
one that
he was also in Stargate SG-1.
That's right, he was. And also the Hunger Games, Mockingjay, Part 1 and Part 2. He was in that. Which I had not seen, so I could not have told you that. Who else kind of got introduced? I mean, there's a bunch of, we'll get into some of the ones that were in a bunch of the 90s movies. Vincent LaRusso.
Yes.
It's kind of funny. Like, didn't really become an actor, but he's not him.
Well,
there it is. No, Brock Pierce is who I was thinking about.
Okay.
Yes.
He did a bunch of movies, but then he's become a big person in the cryptocurrency industry, right? He had an independent presidential run back in 2020. So he's not really a child actor anymore.
Yeah.
But I guess all the money he made as a child actor, he really bankrolled himself to very successful.
I remember when we
that's
got
how
to
you
see
do
him.
Hey,
I remember we
better
got to see
than
him
blowing
making
it
the
on
movie
cracking
first.
hookers.
Yeah.
But yeah, he of course played the 10-year-old Gordon Bombay in all those flashbacks.
But the other one I was going to bring up on this, which I didn't realize, there's the Hall brothers, right? You have Jesse and Terry. Jesse has more screen time than Terry, but Terry is played by Jesse Smollett. Sorry, I can't speak tonight. Who has a successful career and then became famous for a very infamous hoax in Chicago. So,
I mean, then we got Danny Tamborelli, who plays Tommy Duncan.
Yes,
but will always be known as Pete from Pete and Pete.
That's right.
Now, which Pete it is anybody's guess.
Just pick one.
But yeah, every time I see him, I remember Pete and Pete because I used to watch that show all the time. The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
And the other name I will have not with the kids, but you have Lane Smith in this as well as the opposing coach,
Yes.
Jack Riley.
Yes.
Who most people would probably most familiar with in My Cousin Vinny.
Well, that or he played Perry White in Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
That's right.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I remember that.
That's what I know
He's
him
also
from. Because I've only seen My Cousin Vinny a couple times years ago. I think I've only seen it
he was
once all
also
the way
in
through.
the original Red Dawn as well. So a lot of people might remember him from that.
Yeah.
So, and then he got finally Joss Auckland.
Yes. Diplomatic immunity. Sorry, wrong movie.
Just been revoked. He does not play a virulent racist in this movie.
No, he does not. He plays a kind old man who owns a hockey shop.
Yes, in Minnesota. What I didn't realize about this, we did bring this up in our Bill and Ted episode, right? So Stephen Herrick is the director of this, and we talked about in that episode kind of a very varied filmography, including the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
Right? Bill and Ted was a few years before this, but it was written by Stephen Brill. And Stephen Brill would go on to write a bunch of stuff and direct a lot of Adam Sandler movies. More of a later career Adam Sandler, not 90s Adam Sandler. But he started with Little Nicky, and then like Mr. Deeds and some other non-Adam Sandler movies like Drillbit Taylor and Movie 43. But he was also the director of Heavyweights, which features a lot of the actors in this movie.
Yes, it does.
And we love Heavyweights.
Yes, Heavyweights is a classic. We are going to be doing Heavyweights someday.
And Stephen Brill actually has a small role in this movie at the beginning of the movie, which we'll get to very soon. So
he does.
So do you want to get into it?
Let's get into it. So
let's do it.
Before we get started, as always, spoiler alert, we are going to be talking about this movie, the entire movie, beginning, middle, and end, even though it is over 30 years old now. And
just like us.
That's crazy.
Yeah, just like us. And so if you have not seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, then go ahead and pause the podcast, watch the movie, come back and listen. If you have seen the movie or you just don't mind being spoiled, then keep on listening. But you have been warned, so I don't want any complaining about us spoiling the movie for you. So let's get into
it. Would all the kids die?
What? Oh.
Well, I mean, Gordon did have MC Gainey drive a limo under the ice with all the kids on the ice, and then they jumped on the limo and started bouncing up and down.
Something bad was bound to happen.
The ice was safe. He knew when it was safe to drive on. He clearly explained that.
Anyway. No, none of the kids die in this movie.
No.
Some do get endangered.
This isn't Hardball.
Hey,
Spoiler alert for
we're not
Hardball.
doing that movie anyway.
Yeah.
Neither is it My Girl. Spoiler alert for My Girl. Macaulay Culkin dies.
But at least he wasn't left home alone.
He also dies in The Good Son.
Spoiling all these movies that we might be doing one of these days.
You should do The Good Son. I mean, Macaulay Culkin is a murderous child. In
There's
the 90s, could you find a movie like that?
If we ever do The Good Son, then I got some interesting info on that movie. Then I'll bring out if we do it. But
Macaulay Culkin is not in this movie.
no, he's not.
No, he's not.
He is not. However, Joshua Jackson is in this movie, and somehow I don't know how his character became like the main one on the team,
Right.
other than Emilio wanted to bang his mom.
Right. I was thinking about this because we'll get into it, I guess. But yeah, that was the other note I was going to make. It's like I kind of didn't really realize that. Yeah, like he's not necessarily the main kid on the team.
No.
Mm-mm.
You see a lot of others kind of focus, but you get the focus on him when it has to do with the mom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jesse's dad's in it, but
Emilio doesn't want to bang him.
Emilio doesn't want to swing that way. He's not on that team.
so, and I think what's
Water.
interesting about this too with the mom, it was got me thinking. Like, there's a lot of sports movies in the '90s where the kids have single moms.
Mm-hmm.
The Mighty Ducks, Little Big League, Rookie of the Year,
Mm-hmm.
Angels of the Outfield. They don't even have their parents; they're
Nope.
foster children.
kids.
Sandlot, his mom's remarried.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yep.
interesting thread. Anyhow, this movie begins with a flashback
Yes.
to the 70s.
It does. Flashback to the 70s.
When sports were cutthroat. Kids' sports were cutthroat.
They played hockey in the dark, or at least you would believe they did based on these flashbacks.
On frozen ponds.
And it's, the championship game for the Pee-wees in Minnesota, which, it has to be Minnesota. It's like, this is the only state in the U.S. you can place this movie, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you put it in like Texas, nobody would care. Yeah.
Granted, there's other areas where it's, people do play hockey, northern climates, but Minnesota, no, hockey is anyhow. So it's the state final championship for the Pee-wees. And what's funny is that they don't get into it that much because, you get the commentary and he's on the breakaway and he gets tripped and then he gets the penalty shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they make it like, okay, that this penalty shot is big, which granted, it's big because the game is tied, but the game is only tied.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't need to get the goal
No.
to tie it.
I mean, if he doesn't get the goal, they're just going to overtime.
Right. But
And-
hey, coach, tell your defense to suck less.
Exactly. It was not.
Tell your goalie to stop letting goals in.
It was not his fault the team lost.
Tell other players on the team, hey, maybe you could pick up the slack. This guy's
maybe
scoring
one
over
of you guys
200
could score
goals for
too.
me.
Sure, he
Yeah.
missed the penalty shot, but it is not his fault that the team lost in overtime.
It still went to overtime, which means
Yeah.
what the fuck was the defense doing?
And nice speech from the coach. If you don't,
I know, right?
You go, let me down.
Yeah, you're letting your team down. You're
Yeah.
letting me down too.
If you miss
He might
this
as well
shot,
say,
you're not
letting
just
your
letting
dead
me
father
down,
down.
you're letting everybody down.
Yeah.
Your father that died 6 months ago, you're going to let him down.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about a pep talk.
Yeah.
Hey.
But hey,
These are
that's how you
these are the
coach winners.
Hey, listen. There's a time later in this movie where they say in this season he scored over 200 goals.
Mm-hmm.
So how long is this season? Because I'm guessing he's scoring between 5 to 10 goals a game, which means, again, what the fuck is his defense doing?
And wouldn't somebody cover him?
I'm
Come
sorry,
on,
I'm using the F-bomb a lot in this movie, but this coach pisses me off. Lane Smith, bravo. Underrated work of being an absolute asshole.
Yes. I mean, so
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that because, yeah, he's like the complete opposite from Lois and Clark. Like him as Perry White, he is like the professional, nurturing, like great boss editor of the Daily Planet. And then in this, he's just an asshole.
He wants to win. He wants to win in this movie.
But like, you know, like as regimented as he runs these guys, you would think he'd still focus on some defense.
That's true.
Like he shows he's dirty. Like, yeah, just pull everybody down. Slash him in the nuts.
Yep.
Come on.
Hey, that was legal back in those days of hockey.
Yeah, exactly. Be rough. You got it.
Yeah, they didn't have those interference calls. There's only one referee. They could have gotten away with a lot.
Have a goalie, the guy that's screening him, just stick up the balls right there.
Yeah, the old Eddie Belfour.
A goalie stick to the balls when you're 10 years old. Holy
yeah. Although it is also it's really funny in this movie watching 10-year-olds fight. Like throwing punches on the ice.
I love later in the movie. This is later in the movie when they check Banks from behind. He slides into the goal.
Yeah.
And he's like knocked out.
He's knocked
the
out.
kid's like, what did he do to him?
My job. My job. Come on.
Anyway, Lane Smith, he perfectly plays
brilliant job.
the coach that everyone that you just hate.
Brilliant job. The only other actor who would have done a comparable job was Dan Lauria.
Oh yes,
Dan Lauria would have
choice.
been a good Coach Riley also.
Yes, he would have been. I like that
dad
choice.
from the Wonder Years. I mean, he played the dick coach in Smallville.
In Smallville, that's right.
The football
picked on the
coach.
wrong player at the wrong time. Though, So he clings it off the pole. He drops to his knees. I love how the goalie lifts his hands up and skates to the bench like they won the game. It's like, no,
Hey, they didn't score. We're going overtime.
You didn't stop it.
No.
The post stopped it.
Yeah.
Quarter of an inch the other way, it was going in the net, goalie.
Anyhow, and then they get the coach, and he puts his head down, like, ugh. He just gets so disgusted that he barely missed the goal that he decided just to not care about coaching overtime.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Yeah, they just packed it in. They packed it in, lost in overtime.
it's like, we should have won this in regulation.
10 laps.
It's all your fault, 10-year-old Gordon Bombay.
You're gonna grow up to be Emilio Estevez, and I prefer Charlie Sheen. That's my Estevez brother.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so he's gonna star in 2.5 Men, which is gonna be my favorite sitcom.
Yeah, I could see Coach Riley liking 2.5 Men.
Yes, absolutely.
Again, like, Charlie Sheen was like winning. Anyhow, so I guess after this, poor little Gordon Bombay decides he doesn't want to play hockey anymore. Which, I mean, who could blame him?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
his dad dies, and then he misses this goal in this
he misses
big game.
One goal.
The coach, who could end up being like a father figure to him, is just an absolute asshole to him.
Yeah.
So,
and he could have gone all the way. He could have gone all the way.
He could have been one of the greats.
He could have been better than Gretzky.
Nah.
Yes.
Better than Gretzky, yes. Maybe not better than Ovi, though.
I hope there's no Penguin fans listening to this. They're going to chime in Crosby.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, Tony, because I will give it up to Adam Banks. He did dive just like a great Crosby when he got hurt.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's probably where Sidney learned his diving.
There we go. He was watching the Mighty Ducks.
Yep.
So we jumped to 1992, 20 years later, and now he's a successful lawyer. He's a defense attorney.
He's a lawyer that has never lost a case.
and he's defending. He's arguing the case. He's defending a client, and the prosecutor. This is the small role from the writer Stephen Brill is in this, and he's presenting a thing, and the prosecutor wants to object to the argument, and then I guess the judge wants to have a little sidebar with both of them, and he lets him wait. He goes over to his client and starts talking with him like he's having a deep conversation. It's all part of his game. He goes in and he brings up some precedent and ends up having the case thrown out, essentially. And he's happy because now he's 30-0.
Yep.
So he's taken the winning attitude with him.
He is. Coach Riley really got under his skin.
Yes. Like, I'm not going to be hockey, but I'm going to be a good lawyer. Which, hey, more power to him. So he's talking with, I guess, like his legal secretary and all that, people in the office, and then he wants to celebrate it, and he goes out drinking. I love this movie. This movie, it's a kid's movie.
And
Disney.
There's drunk driving.
Drinking and driving. Not just drunk driving. He's
flying
while he's driving.
Yeah. He is drinking and driving and just flying down the icy, snowy roads of Minnesota.
It's Minnesota in the winter. In case you don't realize, they get a lot of snow in Minnesota.
Just a little bit. I think half the movie is snowing.
And so cop pulls him over, and then he just starts slurring his speech.
Because the cops got to hit their quotas.
Hey, yeah, that's right.
Don't look at me like that, Rob. I love all the cops. Watch shaking
So now he's before the judge again, this time as, with, now he's the, I guess, I don't know what the word is, but. And then the prosecutor's there. And he's kind of laughing at it, right?
Yep.
So he goes back to the office, and his boss is there, Mr. Duckworth.
Mr. Ducksworth. Gerald Ducksworth.
And, of course, he's found out about it because, of course, he knows all the judges. And, judge, he's trying to tell his boss, like, no, there's no case. No, this will get thrown out. It's not going to be a problem. And Mr. Ducksworth's like, I've already taken care of it.
Yeah. I've already made a deal. You're going to do 500 hours of community service. You're going to lose your driver's license.
And we're going to get a chauffeur for you to drive you around in a limo.
And
which is
you're going to take a leave of absence from work.
But hold on. So he still gets paid.
Yeah.
His license is only suspended. He gets off of work for a little bit, gets a limo driver.
Yeah.
Okay, this might sound bad, but where do I sign?
I know, right?
Yeah. Hey, it pays to work for a defense attorney.
That's true.
to be one. Like, come on, they're gonna bend things around a bit.
Yeah.
You butter each other's asses.
Yeah.
But it's actually not a bad gig.
It's really not. All he's got to do is put up with a bunch of screaming kids, a bunch of whiny kids on the ice, one of whom has a hot mom. So,
hey, it ends up working out for him.
I don't know what he's complaining about.
It's like when, yeah, it's a win-win. Like, he should completely see this. And anyway, so that's, he's, I guess then he doesn't meet them yet. This is one of those things I kind of forgot was in here, is we start meeting some of these kids, and they're on the streets and alleys there in Minneapolis, and they give some food to a dog.
Yes. First they find a purse in the trash.
Yes.
They find a purse in the dumpster, and then they give some food to a dog and follow it around.
Wait for it to poop. They collect the poop into the bag.
Yep, into the purse. And
go to them, though. Go to the kids, though, for doing the responsible thing and picking up the dog poop.
Yes.
That's right. Like,
absolutely.
I can't tell you the amount of dog poop that I find when I'm walking my dog,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
But this is what I mean. Like, this is the type of scene like definitely would appeal to that age group, and I still find it funny myself.
Yes, so. It is. It is funny. It's very funny.
So they put a dollar bill. They have it sticking out of the purse,
and they leave it on the side of the road and wait for somebody to drive by and see it.
They wait. Someone Finally does. He pulls over. He looks at it. He gets out of the car. I love how it pans back to the boys. And they're like, "Oh, there's more inside."
Yeah, there's more inside.
And the guy pulls out a little bit, then stops, throws the purse out the window. And then the kids run out and they start laughing, and so the guy sees them.
That was a bad move.
Yes.
Yes.
It gives them
yes.
space.
Yes. Don't
They're-
go
they're
out in
a-
the middle of the street.
Bunch of 10-year-olds.
Hey,
They're not thinking
We
straight.
just got this dude.
To put his hand in dog poop. We just gave this guy a poop dollar.
So the main kid that's kind of orchestrating it, we'll find out, is Averman, Lester Averman,
Mm-hmm.
played by Matt Doherty. So what I didn't realize is that he's also in Home Alone.
Yes, he is.
He's one of the cousins.
Yes, he is.
You really only see him very briefly in it.
Mm-hmm.
There is actually a scene that was cut, or would have been more part of an extended scene, and they cut part of his where I think he actually had like a line as well. But he is in the movie, so.
Yes, he is.
But okay, anyway, so he starts chasing them. They're climbing over fences and getting away. And then finally, as he's going over one of the fences, he drops down and smacks his nuts on a 2x4. And
Mm-hmm.
they get away to their hockey
Oh.
practice.
On the
Right?
frozen
They're
pond.
on this frozen pond in the park, right? Like, again, it's Minnesota. There's frozen ponds, or same with Minnesota, Canada, UP and Michigan. Sure, like Alaska and parts of Maine and upper Vermont.
Yep.
You get frozen ponds.
Places where it's cold.
Just like little sandlot fields for baseball in a lot of places, or football fields, right?
Mm-hmm.
There they can do hockey.
Yeah.
Right. But what's interesting for them, like, this is where they practice. They actually don't have a rink of their own. There's also a lot of ice rinks.
Yeah.
in Minnesota.
But their team
Cool.
doesn't have any money, so they
Inside.
can't afford rink time.
So what I want to know about this, because this becomes a plot point later in terms of getting them funding, is has that team always been that way? Or did they at some point, the neighborhood just start going downhill a bit
That is an excellent question.
and they lost some of that?
And it also begs the question, how new is this district?
Right.
District 5. Is it a recent addition? Are they the first team to play in this district?
Right.
They're
No, it's
They're like
it's
the
a perfectly good
expansion
question.
teams. Yeah.
Because they changed a lot. Well, we'll get into it because the lines and boundaries becomes a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's times where they make later in the movie where it makes it seem like it's just teams around the Twin Cities, right? But I thought the team they mentioned at the beginning of the movie, when in the 70s, they were playing Duluth, which is way up in northern Minnesota.
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering kind of how the structure of this league is. Because it seems like with most of the movie, it's just there's only teams in the Twin Cities. But there's other areas.
Well,
of Minnesota too, right?
it doesn't say the teams that they play throughout the movie. It doesn't really say where they're from, though.
I
Does
guess
it?
I'm basing this off a map we see later of some of the boundaries.
Mhm.
So maybe that's only like 5 or 6 of them. And the other
Could be.
districts we just don't see.
Could be.
Because the Twin Cities, that's where the districts probably would be a little bit more hodgepodge.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like Duluth or Bemidji, right? Or Rochester might have a couple. I don't know. Anyhow, just my thoughts. So they get there and there's just a bunch of hodgepodge of kids, 10, 11, 12 years old, and they're not even really playing hockey. They're just goofing around with each other.
Yeah. And then we cut to the inside of the limo, and Gordon Bombay, Emilio Estevez, is in there.
And he's with his new limo driver, MC Gainey. And MC Gainey's giving his life story,
Yes. Well,
including how
plays
he
Lewis.
drove for Grand Funk Railroad.
Yes, he drove for Grand Funk Railroad.
Now, I remember one of the times we watched this. It must have been like the second time I watched it with Tim. We thought he said Grand Fuck Railroad.
We were rolling on the floor.
We're
Thinking
like
he said Grand Fuck Railroad.
9, 10 years old. We just lost it. We thought Disney slipped in the F word.
Wouldn't be the first time there's been something like that.
Oh, Aladdin.
And Little Mermaid.
Anyhow. So yeah, he's talking about his story, and then they get out there to the ice and he tells him to Gainey, just drive out there on the ice.
And he's like, "You
he's
sure?"
like,
He's like,
"What?"
"Yeah, I know this ice. Just drive out there. It's fine."
It's like, it's fine. So he doesn't. And the kids are like, why is this limo coming out on the ice?
Yeah.
Like, who's this guy? Right? And he gets out, right? And
he's in a suit and, dressed like a lawyer.
Yeah.
they're kind of teasing him. And then finally he reaches his hand into his jacket and they think he's going to get a gun.
Yeah. Because they think he's a drug dealer.
Yeah, that's right. They do think he's a drug dealer. That's right. Yes.
So he reaches his hand in his jacket.
Hockey pucks.
But yeah, he just pulls out an envelope with a piece of paper in it.
Charlie.
Yeah, it's the roster.
It's the roster.
He starts
for,
saying their names.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, ugh.
I guess there's no envelope. It's just the roster. It's just a folded up piece of paper.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the roster for the team, and he starts naming it, like reading out the names, and tells them that he's their new coach and that he hates kids. He hates hockey and he hates kids, but he's their new coach.
I don't like hockey. And I don't like kids. And I hate kids. And I don't like hockey. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he just kind of gives them instructions and then gets back in the limo and he takes a phone call because, again, all right, this is 1992.
Yes, there's a car phone.
It's a car phone. It's a limo. It's going to have a car phone. It better have a car phone if it's a limo.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And it's even like your early 90s Lincoln limo.
Oh, yes. Very
It's
classy.
a Lincoln Town Car limo, like stretch limo. Very classy.
They spare no expense on it.
Right. Right. Just like Hammond.
So, even though Hammond didn't. Hiring Nedry was a mistake.
Yeah.
No, not hiring an entire team was a mistake.
Yes. I mean, sure, hire Nedry, but also hire some more IT guys that can fix what Nedry does.
Because Nedry is probably right. He probably did not get paid enough
No.
for building the entire IT framework and then being the person that was responsible for keeping it up.
I mean, he could have hired his granddaughter.
Yes.
He wouldn't have had to pay her as much.
No. She would have done it for like just ponies.
Yeah. I mean, she fixed the system.
I don't know. But
She fixed the whole system after Nedry screwed it up. So
yeah, he created his own operating system for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. Anyway, back to Mighty Ducks. So he's in the car, and then all of a sudden, some of them start jumping on the car. MC Katie's like, "What's going on?"
They start invading the car.
And they hop into the car.
Carp's doing blowfish on the window.
They start stealing MC Katie's candy.
Hey, that's just Goldberg that stole MC Gainey's candy.
No, that wasn't even him. That wasn't even Goldberg. That was Peter in the front.
Oh, that's right. It was Peter.
It was
Goldberg was in the back.
It was yeah, Goldberg got in the back. That's right.
And Goldberg, and I gotta say something. Goldberg, like every fat kid, gets blamed in the limo for farting.
That's
All right?
because Goldberg is the one that farted.
One of my favorite lines in that scene was Emilio Estevez looking at Goldberg going, "Young man, what did you eat?" Because I have been asked that before.
But yeah, so Peter steals MC Gainey's candy. MC Gainey gets mad at a kid because nobody takes his candy. Goldberg farts.
Woohoo! Shout out to Goldberg.
And then Charlie's mom comes.
Yes, Charlie's mom comes.
Spoils the party.
Gets mad at Emilio for driving a limo, or for having his driver drive the limo onto the ice with all the kids on there, freaking out, being a mom, trying to protect her kid and whatnot. But Emilio's like, "It's okay. I know this ice. It's okay."
I've been on the ice my entire life.
But that doesn't seem to sway her.
But I get it. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Charlie's mom. I just passed her name.
Casey, played by Heidi Kling.
Who did not do a whole lot of the movies. She was in the 1994 episode of Murder, She Wrote.
Ooh.
Playing Kitty Colfax. So I don't know if she was a murderer in that movie. Well, no. Jessica Fletcher was always the murderer. But did she frame her, or did she kill her in this movie?
She was also in Diagnosis Murder. She was in one episode of that. And that came before Murder, She Wrote. So maybe the murder that was being written about was the one from Diagnosis Murder.
Ah. I see where you're going with this.
Mm-hmm. Shared universe among those 90s old person mystery shows.
Yes.
Dick Van Dyke and Angela Lansbury.
Kitty Colfax.
Now, what's interesting was she was in Mighty Ducks and D3, but not D2.
That's right. Which is really, it is interesting.
Well, because really, in D2, you don't see Charlie's mom. You don't see any of the parents.
Yeah, no. But, like, part of the movie does take place in Minnesota. They, so they could have easily put her in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, because they have the whole adventure at the Mall of America in D2.
Yeah. I mean, Averman, he's working at the ticket stand in D2. Anyhow. So she pulls Charlie off, and they're, and he's like, sorry about my mom. So, they get to the rink for the first game, and he bumps into his old coach.
Mm-hmm.
His coach sees him. He's like, oh, Gordon Bombay. It's like, what do you do? Oh, I'm coaching. It's like, first he's like, who's your son? Is actually like his first question. It's like,
who's your kid? He's like, no, I don't have a kid. I'm the coach.
And what I love is that they look over. So they're at the Hawks arena. Mm-hmm. And he looks over. They have all their banners. First place,
except
one second place. He's like, I wish they would take that down, don't you?
It's your fault it's not a first place.
I would have slugged the motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was like, I've been waiting 20 years for this. Fuck you. I'm a lawyer. I'll get out of this. I make more money than you do. What's your job? Oh, that's right.
In fact, I think I'm going to buy your team and fire you.
So they get to the locker room and, again, they don't have proper equipment. Some of them are wearing football helmets. Some are wearing sweatshirts, and makeshift jerseys, and he's talking with someone from the team, and it's like, oh yeah, well, we almost won a game once. We only gave up 5 goals.
Yeah.
And so they get on the ice.
Yeah, I mean the other team just mops the floor with them.
Yeah, no, I mean they lose badly.
Goldberg is scared of the puck every time. He's the goalie and he's scared of the puck.
He's like, take the goal. Yeah, and they're just falling down all over the ice.
He doesn't understand why everybody is shooting the puck at him.
No.
He's the goalie. why everybody's trying to hit him with a puck. But so they lose
17-0.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point he's just thinking this is going to be a very long few months doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually, I guess he's kind of embarrassed by it. So part of it's just the coach kind of still wants to Riley wants to kind of rub it in Bombay a little bit and just runs up the score.
Yeah.
He wants to completely embarrass them. Then, So they get back into the locker room, and now he's actually kind of he has some passion now. He's like, why didn't you listen to me this entire game? I was trying to tell you what to do. And then finally they kind of
he's just yelling at the kids,
and they're like, why should we listen to you? Jesse says, it's Jesse that's saying, like, why should we? Right. So you see between this and the next game.
Yeah, there's between this and the next game, then we get the kids in the alley, and they're being bullied by the Hawks.
Oh, that's right. They're getting bullied. That's right.
By 3 of the Hawks players.
I love this scene. And they're on their rollerblades, and they're skating around them. It's actually pretty good camera work to kind of sell the effect.
And this whole time, anytime that the kids have been out running around, we've always seen this bigger kid kind of off in the back watching them.
Yes, and he was actually at the first game. He was just sitting in the stands.
Yeah, he's kind of just sitting back in the stands and watching. But yeah, so the kids are out in the alley getting bullied by 3 of the Hawks, and this big kid walks up behind 3 Hawks and just shoves them all into the trash.
I love like.
And he growls at him.
Growls at him.
Good old Ellen Henson. Fulton Reed.
So, and they're thankful and they move off.
Yeah.
And then
so
the next game.
Yeah, they're thankful. He just kind of just walks away.
He's almost in a way, makes me kind of think of, anyone see the original Bad News Bears movie?
I have not seen the original Bad News Bears.
You have Jackie Earle Haley plays this kid Kelly Leak, who's kind of like a rougher type of person who's actually really skilled, but's not on the team to begin with, and then comes on to the team. But yeah, rougher around the edges. Anyway, so we get to the next game, and then he's trying. This time he's going to try to coach the kids to basically sell being tripped and the fall and everything.
Tells them to take a fall, and none of them want to do
diving, and
none of them want to, but he's yelling at them to do it, so a couple of them will do it.
And then the refs give them a warning about it.
And then Charlie,
he's like, next time they're going to get you in the corner. When they're fighting for the puck, just put a hand up around your eye, pretend like they've got you in the eye with their stick, and then fall.
Well, I think he says skate, like they cut your eye with the skate.
That's right. That's what it is.
Act like you're hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. Act like you're hurt. And so Charlie gets pushed in the corner.
Shift.
He's held in the corner. And Gordon is like, he's reaching for his eyes. He's like, do it.
Come on, Charlie.
You try. And Charlie, he just won't do it. And he kicks the puck over out of the corner.
Yep. And of course,
something I found interesting that I just saw here, little tidbit. I don't know if you guys knew. Leonardo DiCaprio tried out for the main role of Charlie Conway.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I could see that. That makes sense. That was around that time for him.
Yep.
He probably would have been a little too old.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he was the only thing that he was really on, like he was really in at the time was Growing Pains. Yeah.
Growing Pains. Yeah.
But yeah, I think he would have probably been a little bit too old.
Also, Josh Jackson wasn't the first. Josh Jackson wasn't the first one to be. Wasn't the first one they thought to be that they were thinking of to be Charlie. It was Jake Gyllenhaal.
Really?
Oh, see, that would have been a little bit different because he would have been younger. Because like DiCaprio he would have been about 18 when that movie was released.
Jake Gyllenhaal around this time was in City Slickers.
Yes. Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal was born in 1980. So he was 12 when the movie was released. So he would have been right at that age range. That would have made a lot of sense.
Yeah, they said here, I'm just reading here, it said that Jake's parents wouldn't let him do the movie, so the producers went with Josh Jackson instead.
His parents wouldn't let him do the movie.
Because it's such a bad movie.
Mm-hmm. Hey, this is a movie that has drinking and driving in it.
Exactly. I mean, he was in City Slickers, which is a PG-13 movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he was barely in City Slickers. He was in the beginning and the end.
That's right. He's not around some of the other things, but it was 1991 with City Slickers, yeah.
So
gets into the locker room, and he's angry, telling Charlie, when I tell you to do something, you do it.
And Charlie's like, you can't make me cheat. And he walks away. But at that game, there was an old man watching.
There wasn't an old man watching.
There's an old man watching.
And he's disappointed.
That Gordon recognized. An old man named Hans.
Hans. We'll get to Hans. Not Hans Gruber.
No, not Hans Gruber.
This is a Swedish Hans.
This Hans does not get thrown off a roof.
But we also see Jesse and Terry's dad in this.
Yes. And he understood what was going on.
He's angry.
Yeah. He saw what Gordon was doing. He understood what was going on.
I'm not paying for my kids to take falls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was not happy.
Yeah, so he takes his two kids out.
And this, also thinking about kids, that's like those scenes there where they were trying to, dive to win. That's probably also, sorry, Penguin fans, but where Sidney Crosby learned how to dive.
Should have mentioned also in the Hawks game, we mentioned the Oreo line earlier. It was the Hawks that actually originated the name for the Oreo line. They were being racist when they used it, but but then they took it on with pride. It was the Hall brothers, who are African American, and then they were with a white teammate. So
Guy Germain.
Guy was that's right. It was Guy.
It was Guy.
Excuse me. So they were all obviously we could get the reference. By the way, Guy Germain is actually the younger brother of Alden Henson.
Yes, I was just about to say that. Because Guy is played by Garrett Ratliff Henson.
You know what other movie he was in?
What's that?
He was in Arachnophobia.
He was in Arachnophobia.
All right. So, as you mentioned, Hans was there, and a little older, Scandinavian guy. And as you said, Emilio sees him, or Bombay sees him. And we kind of cut to the nighttime, and we see Hans there. He's sharpening his skate, and Bombay kind of comes in behind him.
Yeah, because Gordon, he's walking toward a big building and walks in the door. Yeah, and
Hans is like, knows right away who it is.
Yeah, he's like, "Hello, Gordon." He's like, "How do you know it was me?" He's like, "You came in the back door, just like you always do."
That sounds so dirty, by the way.
Thank you,
As
Tim.
I've gotten older, I've gotten to laugh at that scene every time I hear it.
Yeah, Tim. There's nobody in this movie that gets quad teamed in the shower.
No, not in this movie.
That was just a Point Break.
But yeah, it's been 20 years, but he still knows exactly what he's going to do. But he also probably knows him well enough to know kind of how he might react when he's sad. And he's sad that he lost this game.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking for advice. So he comes to Hans.
And
they start talking, and
Hans still has the newspaper clipping, the article from when Gordon lost that game.
Yes.
And like the article looks as though it's blaming Gordon for losing the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's got it framed, hanging on the wall.
And again, like no, it wasn't that. There were plenty of other opportunities for that team to win.
Maybe somebody else has stepped up and scored.
And they have a nice conversation. He talks about how he lost his passion for the game after that.
Mm-hmm.
But then, Hans talks about how he used to, skate on the rinks until, it's dark. And his dad had to call him back into the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
About how great he could have been.
Yeah.
And he was just too discouraged. And Hans tries to rekindle that passion that he had because he knows how much he loved hockey. He sees these kids, and he's trying to be positive. Unlike someone else is like, they're gonna let me down if he missed this shot.
Yeah. But no, Hans is being that nurturing father figure, even to an adult Gordon Bombay.
Yep. And then he hands him a pair of skates. A new pair of skates for him.
Yep. And he's like, "What's this?" He's like, "This is your new skates. These are your new skates."
It's a 9.5, right?
Yeah. He's like, "Actually, I'm a 9." He's like, "Wear thick socks."
So we cut. It's early in the morning, and
Gordon is lacing up the skates.
A little memory of skating, and playing hockey.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad's there and talking.
His dad's like, "Okay, it's time to go home."
Skating around
like, 5 more
pond.
minutes.
He's just
Like
skating
every
around
kid
the
would
pond.
do, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been hilarious if Tim ever tried to ski on his pool.
He did.
He tried to walk across it.
Yeah. But when I was younger than that, we when it froze over, we had video of us skating on it when we were younger.
Well,
I was testing the ice. I was making sure it was safe to walk across.
Oh, yeah. Well, good thing you didn't try to drive a limo onto it.
Yeah, that would have been fun to play my
I could have seen 21-year-old Tim's like, We're gonna drive this car to mom dad's pool in the middle of winter.
I know this ice.
Wakes up in the morning like, Tim.
Why is there a car at the bottom of the pool?
To be like, what? Like, to be like, it wasn't me. It was drunk Tim.
Yeah, sober Tim wasn't there. You need to bring it up with drunk Tim.
I can run and get him if you want. Anyway, so this morning, Skate, his little talk with Hans, he gets everything kind of rekindled in him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he decides to go over to Charlie's house or apartment, really.
Yeah. To apologize.
He goes up there, and the mom's like, he doesn't want anything to do with you, and neither do I.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he just starts to say, he apologizes. You know,
Yeah,
it's
he's like, I want to apologize
I haven't
to him.
been right. I haven't treated him or the kids or you well. Right?
Yeah, so she lets him
And
in.
so, and then calls her, Charlie over, and she kind of walks in the kitchen, and he has, he speaks more in a way that you would to like a 10, 12-year-old.
He apologizes to Charlie. Well, he doesn't actually say I'm sorry.
At first, yeah.
At first.
She has to kind of coax it out of him, and he's just like, I'm sorry.
But she's around the corner listening to everything. And yeah, she coaxes him into saying I'm sorry, and then she like does a 180 on him. Like she doesn't hate his guts anymore. Just magically she, wants to get in his pants.
No, it's
which is definitely
very overt.
That does not work.
That's not his intention at first. Like his intention is like, I love hockey. I want to pass this on to these kids.
Yeah.
And then there's a curly-haired single mother there, and she's like, hey.
She's like, hey, I hate you. I hate what you're doing to these kids. And then he's like, okay, let me apologize to your kid. And then all of a sudden she's like, hey, let's make some future hockey players.
Hey,
that line doesn't work, by the
way. She looks at the situation, right? He's a defense attorney for a big firm. He gets arrested for DUI. But instead of losing his job, he gets a fully paid time off with a limo driver.
For at least long enough to do his 500 hours of community service.
So she's probably looking at this like, hey, this guy's probably kind of rich.
Mm-hmm.
I could move out of this 1-bedroom apartment.
Well, I'm guessing it's at least a 2-bedroom apartment because, Charlie probably doesn't want to share a room with his mom. Especially if she's going to start having his hockey coach over. So at the end of their conversation, Charlie invites Gordon to stay for dinner. And he's like, no, I can't. Actually, what are you having?
It's not eggplant parmesan.
It's not eggplant parmesan.
For next week's episode.
But there may be some coffee involved.
Oh, goodness. So, after a night at the Conway abode, he goes back to his office, and he's talking with his boss. He's talking with Ducksworth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, hey, you know what? I've learned this lesson. I'm really dedicated to actually helping this team now, but here's the problem.
They don't have any money.
They have no money.
They have no funding. They don't have any good equipment. So I have an idea. It would get you in the good graces of everybody if we could sponsor this team. And
at first, he's not thinking much about it because he hears $15,000.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's watering his little plants in his office.
Yep.
And he's like, well, I'll get your own jersey.
Yeah, we'll name the team after you, and I'll get you your own jersey. And then he's like, I like free stuff that I'm paying for.
I like when things have my name.
Hey, in Mr. Ducksworth's defense, as somebody who has like 15 to 20 hockey jerseys, I'm always down for a jersey, you know?
I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they name themselves the Ducks.
Yep. So yeah, so
They have a green
he
jersey
shows
with
up.
a duck.
He shows up the next day with all this new equipment. Or well, not he shows up the next day and takes the kids to Hans's store so that they can buy all their new equipment.
That's right.
And so, you get that classic 90s shopping spree montage. And
yeah. And then one of them, I think it was Guy, sees the newspaper article.
No, it's Peter. Peter sees the newspaper article.
He's like, Gordon was a hawk?
Yeah, Gordon was a hawk? And so all of a sudden, Peter loses all respect for Gordon.
Which, like, okay.
Just because 20 years ago he played for the Hawks. But yeah, I mean, they are their sworn enemies. So,
yes.
Mm-hmm. And then I believe also during that scene we see Bolton basically Hulk smash, rip a stick out of one of the displays for Charlie, and that's kind of what we see Gordon talking about.
Yep. Yeah, because there's a fancy stick on display. Yeah,
Thanks,
so he just
Bolton.
yanks it out of there. But at this point, was Fulton wasn't on the team yet, though, was he?
He was not on the team.
Yeah,
I guess he was.
That's when Gordon first saw him.
Because Gordon first saw him when he was watching the game when they were playing, and he's like, "Hey, who's that kid?"
But he's not on the team yet. That's right.
Yeah.
He was just tagging along on the shopping spree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's just looking around.
Because he is very interested in hockey, but he's too afraid to ask to be on the team. But yeah, because they're telling him that there's rumors that he was accepted to play football, but he can't play hockey. He's not allowed, otherwise he loses a scholarship.
Right, because he's asking about him there because he sees him.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, that guy's big.
Yeah,
we need some muscle on this.
Yeah,
I need my enforcer.
Yeah. Just wait till the next movie when they get the Bash Brothers.
Oh yeah,
he gets a partner.
So, let's see here. So, but then they get to the next game, and at first, he explains why they're the Ducks too.
Yeah.
Right? How Ducks fly together. Right? He tries to convince them all the other birds are scared of ducks.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Because when the kids hear the team's name is the Ducks, then they're like, "That's the worst bird," and he's like, "Nope, the duck is the most majestic
are we being sponsored
bird."
by Donald and Daisy?
Yeah, are we sponsored by Donald and Daisy?
But it's funny because of this movie, though. People respect Ducks as a team name now because a hockey team got named after them.
Yep.
The Oregon sports teams are always the Ducks, and they've become a big football powerhouse. So, but so they get to the next game, and they manage a tie in the next game.
Mm-hmm. But actually, first they actually get some time at the rink to practice.
I'd say they get time at the rink, and he actually gives them some drills, and he actually teaches them some hockey.
Gives them some drills, teaches them some hockey. They tie Goldberg to the goal, and they just pelt him with pucks.
Here you go, Tim.
to try to alleviate his fear of the puck. And then when they're done, they leave, and they leave him tied to the goal.
He's like, excuse me, guys. Very funny. Good timing now. I'm like, no, Joe, come on. Oh, I love that scene.
Yeah, so then they have a game and they tie.
They tie.
And they're all like real excited that they finally tied a game. They still haven't won, but they tied.
They tied it. But hey, that's an accomplishment. You know, and they limit the goals. They got some goals.
Mm-hmm.
Who scored the goals in that game? I think Guy got one. And
Jesse Hall? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jesse got one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so it's that's when they finally recruit Fulton because
did they recruit Fulton first, or did they recruit Tommy and Tammy?
Tommy
They
and Tammy.
recruited Fulton first.
Okay. So he's still with MC Gainey.
Yeah. So
right? And he sees Fulton practicing his shot in an alley.
No, first they're just driving past an alley and the window gets hit by a puck.
That's right.
And they stop and it shatters the window and they stop and they look and it's Fulton. And so Gordon gets out and Fulton tries to run away, so Gordon chases him. Fulton thinks
he's not worried about the window.
Yeah. Fulton thinks he's coming after him. But, he catches up to him. He's like, no, I don't care about the window. How'd you learn to shoot like that?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know. I just do it. It's like, can you do it again? And so he knocks out another window.
Sounds like point hockey at our friend Joey's house.
He's crapping MC Gainey's crapping his pants.
Yeah. Because he's still in the limo.
And he's finally like, oh, I make 1 out of 5.
Mm-hmm. 1 out of 5. And so
they ask him why he can't play. And he says the reason he can't play is because he doesn't know how to skate.
Yeah.
So they teach
he's like, yeah, some of the kids said that you got a football scholarship. Is that true? He's like, kids talk. He's like, well, then why don't you want to, why can't you play? He's like, I don't know how to skate. He's like, is that all that's stopping you? And then we get Fulton completely padded out on rollerblades with the rest of the kids.
Like Bambi on ice.
Rollerblading through the mall.
Which is something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to get on roller skates and just skate through a mall.
Now, this isn't just any mall. This is the Mall of America.
That's right.
Okay, fine. I'll go to Mall of America and skate Mall of America.
Hey, this is a big-ass mall.
There's so many malls now that basically have 3 or 4 stores open.
Mm-hmm.
Most are just like cell phone.
Yeah, you might as well just roller skate through any mall.
Without a problem.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? I'll videotape it and send it to you guys. That'll be fun.
Do it. Do it.
So, and I think it's after that is when they're able to recruit Tommy and Tammy.
Yeah.
And because he sees them out on the ice that they're sharing, and they're figure skaters.
Yes.
Especially Tammy.
Well, Tammy's a figure skater. Tommy has always wanted to play hockey, but their mom won't let him. And so he makes a deal with Tammy because he's like, hey, you wanted me to learn figure skating, so you're going to play hockey.
Yep.
Which is a fair deal.
Yeah. We don't find out what their parents end up thinking about this arrangement when they find out about it.
No, but they don't pull him from the team. So they must
they don't
come to an agreement. Unless they just play in secret. And somehow make it through the whole season without telling their parents they're playing hockey.
So, at this time too is when. So this is when. I'm not talking about this game. So the next game is when, before they get out there, they're out there practicing before the game, and he just puts Fulton out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, just shoot as many pucks as possible and scare the crap out of this team.
Yep, exactly. He's just like hitting them. They're flying everywhere. Breaks the plexiglass with one of them, and he gets in 1 in 5.
Yep.
Every once in a while they get one in the goal. He's like 1 out of 5.
He's also achieved the purpose of
Yeah.
He's intimidating the other team.
Yes.
Because not only is it hard, he's erratic. And then it comes to game time, and they get to the point where he gets it out there on the ice. He gets to the point,
And he
they
hits the
see
puck.
him winding up. And they all duck,
Yep, they all dive
And
out of the way
scores
of
a
the
goal.
puck.
and they win.
Yep.
It works perfectly well.
Yes. Very smart on Emilio's.
Is this the same game where Tammy does one of her little spins to distract?
No.
the team?
No, it's a different game.
That's
That's
later
next,
in the movie.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's later.
But meanwhile, he's still taking Charlie kind of under his wings. We kind of get a few scenes.
Yeah,
of
he's
that
still
because
going and hanging out with Charlie and like
now
being his new
realizes-
daddy.
But he teaches him some of the tactics that aren't quite as
Because that's the thing.
dirty.
So Charlie's dad didn't die or anything like that. He just left.
He just left.
He left Charlie and his mom. So
Charlie keeps looking for that new dad, essentially.
yeah, and Charlie and Gordon are they're creating a bond, and Gordon's trying to create a bond with Charlie's mom. And
Emotional and physical.
And Charlie wants Gordon to form a bond with his mom
Emotional and physical.
because he wants Gordon to be his new daddy. But Charlie's mom is hesitant, even though she's not.
Well, you had this. There's a scene there, right, where like they're out like at this winter type festival.
Yeah.
And apparently, I guess
yeah.
it's something that's in like the Twin Cities every year.
Yeah,
It's
because
like,
Gordon was at their
everywhere
house.
I look up at that room.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
Gordon was
I-
at their
that's my
house, and he asked Charlie. He's like, "Hey, we should all go to the Winterfest." And Charlie's like, "Well, I have a bunch of homework that I got to do, but you and Mom should go."
I can get a room. Come back later.
You can put the biscuit in the basket, Yeah.
You can play hide the pickle.
Okay, I was trying to use a hockey reference, but it's all right.
Hey, remember, always go for the 5-hole.
Always go for the hat trick.
All right. So, they're at Winterfest. And she talks about, I always imagine that as my room. And then, like, last year I gave Charlie
Yeah.
that room.
And then Gordon's like, "Well, what room was mine?" And then she just turns on him.
It's like, it's not that easy.
She's like, "It's not that easy. You're an asshole." Like, what? What did this? Where did this come from? 5 seconds ago, you were about to jump my bones. What? Why are you all mad at me now? He's like, "I was joking." It's like, "Oh, it's just that, any guy that I've dated, once they see Charlie, they run the other way, and I don't want to do that to him. I don't want to start something with you and then just have you leave later. I can't do that to Charlie."
Guys is she like?
I know, right?
Finding.
It's clear that Gordon and Charlie, they're forming a bond.
Yes.
Right? And yeah. So he talks her into, not being pissed at him for joking about having a room.
Hold on, chill out.
So Anyway, so he ends up having another meeting with Hans back at the pro shop and hockey shop. And Hans tells him about, you guys can make the playoffs. Only the bottom two miss it. And one of the teams is out with the measles.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's for them.
Yeah, so all they have to do is beat the Huskies, and they're in the playoffs.
And they talk about how
they talk about this at the win. It's like, well, you know what? He tells them, but the district lines have been redrawn.
Mm-hmm.
You would have been in District 5. Now you would be, that back in 72, you would have been.
If the lines were like they are now, back in 72, you would have been District 5. You wouldn't be on the Hawks.
You'd be a Duck. You would be a Hawk. And the star player of the Hawks that year, Adam Banks, technically should be in.
Yes. On the Ducks.
When they redrew the lines, technically he's in District 5. He should be on the Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
And because, he tries to do some of his lawyer skills, he goes with the league and gets someone from the league office to kind of do a protest and tries to get Banks onto the team.
Yeah, so they walk right up to Coach Riley.
Yep.
At a practice. And they're like, hey, you've got a player that doesn't belong on your team. We want Adam Banks on the Ducks. He's supposed to be a Duck. He's not a Hawk.
And so they call Banks over, and his dad sees that kind of what's happening. He comes down, and they're like, "What?" I love it because it's it's classic. He's being kind of a good lawyer with it, and it's good gamesmanship.
Yeah,
I love it. And Coach Riley's like, "This is your doing, Gordon."
Yeah.
He's angry at Gordon. It's like
this is because you lost the game, isn't it? This is all getting back at me.
You would put that puck in, I would totally give him up to you.
But no, it all makes sense. He's trying to get
he's trying to get the best team he can. Yeah.
He's trying to get them to win.
Yeah.
And he's doing it legally.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's doing it within bounds. Like, hey, them's the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Suck on these.
Yeah. He's like, all I'm doing is following the rules. You have a player that's not supposed to be on your team. He's supposed to be on mine. So I'm just trying to get my player.
And he's like, I expect him to be at our next practice, our next game. And so then he's leaving. And then, Riley follows him. He's like, what are you doing this for? Like, this is all about this. And he's like, you could have been something. Right. And he starts berating an adult.
And then, Gordon starts, talking back at him, being sarcastic. So they're a bunch of kids. They don't know anything. They don't deserve to live. Meanwhile, Peter. And who was with Peter? Was it Jesse?
I think it was Jesse, yeah.
Yes.
They
overhear this.
They overhear it. And so all they hear is Gordon saying
they're only getting that little small snippet.
That, they don't deserve to live and, they're not worth anything. Even though he's very clearly using a sarcastic tone.
Yes.
But they're kids, so they don't necessarily pick up on the tone that he's using.
I would say that those two would be the ones that would probably most likely to jump to conclusions anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is. So they all get back to the locker room and
okay, so here's something. When they get back to the locker room, so it's showing just a little pan shot of all the different kids in there, and Charlie they're all like you can't really understand what they're all saying because it's all just a crowd talking kind of thing, but you clearly hear Charlie say Darth Vader.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes. He raises his hands up. He's like Darth Vader. I had to rewind it. I thought I heard it the first time I was around. I'm like, did he really just say Darth Vader? And he did.
That's awesome. I have to go back and do that. Anyway, Peter and Jesse, they confront him. They're like, yeah, you said you don't deserve to live, and we suck. And they leave. And almost everybody else leaves, except for Charlie and Fulton.
Yeah. And then they're also like, and is it true that Cake Eater's going to be on the team? And he's like, well, if Adam wants to be a duck, he's welcome on the team.
Yeah. So yeah, they're the only two that stick,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they have to forfeit, which of course will make it harder for them to make the playoffs.
Yep.
So they lose by forfeit, and then he goes up to his office. He gets kind of called up there, and then he's got Ducksworth there and Riley and Banks' dad.
Mm-hmm. And they're protesting his protest. And so they're like, well, here's the deal. Banks is going to stay on the Hawks. You're going to withdraw your protest. And Gordon's like, well, he starts talking as if he's agreeing with them. And they're like, good, we'll go write up the papers and all that and get you back on your, because he's like, I got your sentence overthrown.
Right.
That's what it was. Yeah. And he's like, you can come back to work and all this. All that needs to be done is drop your protest. And he's like, okay, great. But I can't drop the protest. Fair. Yeah, that wouldn't be fair.
Which is what you wanted me to learn was fair play.
And meanwhile, there's Ducksworth has his jersey and it's framed, hanging on the wall. And so he's talking and like, so I'm not going to drop it because this is fair. You know, you sent me out here to learn fair play, to learn how to be on a team. And that's what I've learned. That's what I'm doing. And you see this jersey up here. You may have bought it, but you didn't earn it.
And it looks good kill.
He's like,
yeah.
He's like, pack your office, is what he says.
Uh-huh.
Like, okay, Mr. Ducksworth. Quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth.
Yes, quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth.
I love it. He keeps quacking. He's like,
Gordon, stop quacking. Quack, 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 quack.
I was like,
quack,
yeah,
quack, quack,
you didn't
quack.
earn this. And
But what's great is MC Gainey stays as his driver.
yes, I love it. He stays as his driver, and then he even joins the team.
Yeah.
He's on the bench.
Yeah.
He's like an assistant coach.
Videotaping.
Yeah. Because that's just how cool MC Gainey is. You know, he's like, yeah, sure, I was hired to be your driver, but you know what? We've actually become friends. I'm going to keep driving you around. Only this time he's driving a van instead of a limo.
Well, I mean,
Maybe we don't know. We don't know. The limo may have sunk in the
It might have, or maybe the limo was in the shop. Maybe the limo was in the
the
shop getting the windows replaced.
hey, who knows?
But yeah, so then we get the kids in school. And
Well, he has a conversation with Charlie first about he need to talk with the rest of the team.
Yeah, that's right.
To get them back in my good graces. And then there's a scene in the school. They're all in the same science class together.
Bad
Most
idea.
of them are in the same science class together.
Yeah.
And they have a little chemistry molecule model.
Uh-huh. And they're learning about
teacher
H2O.
Way too enthusiastic about modeling H2O.
Yes. Yes. Like he's one of those middle school chemistry teachers that why are they in chemistry in middle school?
Especially at that age.
Yeah.
Like maybe 8th grade I could see it, but they're definitely not 8th grade. They're like 6th grade.
Maybe 7th.
Anyhow, so they're kind of having. There's one girl. She's very studious, obviously, and she's doing what's that do. And then he has to leave because the principal comes and is talking, and so he leaves briefly. So the principal and the teacher are just outside in the hallway. And then they start getting angry at Charlie. They're like telling him,
Charlie's trying to
the
talk
coach's pet or whatever.
Charlie's trying to talk to them about Bombay, and he's just trying to give them some gin, some Bombay Sapphire, and. But they're in school, so they can't drink.
Well, not that.
But no, so he's
remember
trying
being
to
in high school and we got the vanilla Coke in the machine. It's like, yes, vanilla Coke.
See, I never liked vanilla Coke. It tasted too much like cream soda, and I don't like cream soda.
Vanilla Coke was so good.
That makes sense.
So good.
Anyhow, so they start to fight in there, and they're all throwing molecules at each other.
Oh, atoms at each other. Atom fight. They're yelling atom fight. Atom fight.
And then I love how the science teacher, he's a little nerdy, geeky guy. He doesn't know how to stop it. But the principal comes in. This giant lady.
Yeah.
She's
like, stop. So the principal is like the opposite of Linda Hunt in Kindergarten Cop.
Oh, goodness.
She's like this woman that towers over everybody.
What have you got to say for yourself?
This is the one part of the movie. Like, I remember them being the fight. I forgot what this principal was like. I'm not sure why I forgot it, because she's really memorable in these two incredibly brief scenes.
Yeah. But yeah, so she starts yelling at the kids,
and they all get sitting up straight in the desk.
Yep.
Right? And now then we get cut to the scene in Bombay. He's
No.
approaching the school.
They're not just. They don't just straighten up at their desk. They actually rally together and they start quacking at the principal.
That's when they start quacking. So he's
like, quack.
What do you have to
Quack.
say for yourself?
Quack. 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 Quack.
Quack.
Quack.
Here she is.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, stop quacking. I love it. It's this perfect juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Quacking against the boss.
Quacking against the principal. Yes. Yes. Yeah, then
It's
we
like
get Gordon showing up to the school with a list of names.
I came to pick up my players.
I'm here to talk to
Like,
my
He's
players.
like, I need to
tell me
talk
where
to
they
these
are?
kids. He's like, what relationship are you to them? And he's like, I'm their hockey coach. He's like, they're all in this room. It's like, all of them?
And she's like, all of them?
He's like, yep.
all of them. All of them.
So he walks in there. They're all like, it's one of those rooms with chalkboards all on every wall.
So on all the perimeter that
And
they're
so,
all writing, I will not quack.
yeah, they're all writing, I will
Principal.
not quack at the principal over and over.
I love how they all have such different handwriting.
Yes.
It's perfect. Some's nice and neat. Others
Yep.
are really erratic and messy. And
Some are
Mine's
writing
been
cursive, some are writing print.
and then he's like, I came to apologize. And like, I want to be a coach again. It's like, why? I was like, I was being sarcastic.
You know what sarcastic means? And Carp's like, no.
No.
He's like, you do.
And then he's like, and so they start saying, and he's like, did you really quack at the principal? And they start quacking again.
What?
He's like, we ducks or what? And it cuts to the last game, the last chance to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And I think this is when Tammy does her little spin.
Yes. And that helps them get the goal
Yeah.
to win the game.
It distracts the other team so that they can get the goal.
Because they beat the Huskies, right?
Mhm. Yep, they beat the Huskies. And so they make it to the playoffs. And then Gordon gives them a little surprise because they made
He
it.
takes them to a hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
They meet Basil McCray and Mike Madonna.
Yep.
Back when they were the Minnesota North
But
Stars.
instead of North Stars. I mean, these are two literal hockey players at that time. And
Yep.
Mike Madonna is an NHL Hall of Famer.
And which one was it that Gordon played with as a kid?
Basil McCray.
Basil McCray.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this guy ruled Pee-wees. That's what he
Yeah.
basically says. And then he's like, and he looks at him, he's like, and he tells the kids, like, listen to your coach. He knows what he's talking about.
And then he tells Gordon, hey, if you ever want to get in the minors, let me know. I'll make some
I
calls.
can make some calls. So, and then they get to watch the game, and they're fun. They have fun watching the game, and then they get up on the big board. It's like the North Stars welcome the Ducks, and Coach Gordon Bombay, right?
And of course, this
And they think it's
makes the
cool.
kids' day,
Yeah, it does.
I mean, their team is up on the big screen.
They got a free hockey game. They get the names up there. They got to meet hockey players, right? So it's awesome. They're having the time of their life. And it gets to the first. Now it's their first game
But
of the playoffs.
also,
Oh, that's right.
some of the Hawks are there.
Oh,
and
that's
they
right. Forgot about
see
that.
Banks sitting with the Ducks. Because by this time,
Right.
Banks had been introduced to the team. He had been brought on.
He decided to play for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like some of them, like Jesse in particular, just calling him cake eater and
He's-
doesn't
his-
really want. It's not really welcoming him to the team.
Yeah, because his first game with the team was against the Huskies.
Yes.
And so, yeah, Jesse really
I'm glad
doesn't
he brought
like
this up.
Banks. He keeps calling him cake eater, because he's a rich kid, and
Yep.
and the rest of the kids are, Charlie especially is trying to be welcoming.
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, Jesse's kind of trying to lead the charge of everybody against Banks because he's the enemy, even though Banks just wants to play hockey.
Yeah.
He's got nothing. He's got nothing against the team.
It's a team. He doesn't care about class.
He
doesn't care
was
about race. He doesn't
he
care about
was
any of that.
one of the 3 Hawks that were bullying the kids before in the alley before they got their asses handed to him by Fulton. But he was probably just tagging along with his buddies. He wasn't necessarily the aggressor of the 3.
No, not at all.
But yeah, he just wanted to play hockey. And then so Jesse sees the looks and everything that the Hawks are given to Banks. And he kind of understands a little bit. And he's like, they're against him too.
Yep.
And he's like, so maybe we can, welcome him onto the team.
Yeah, which they do. And then they march to the playoffs. We get the montage, and we get these super clippings about Ducks and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And they win their semifinal game to play the Hawks. And I love the super clipping. It's like it's really serious.
Yes.
It's like Ducks versus Hawks, and they got the
Sports
black
movies
background.
in the
faces.
early 90s, especially kids sports movies in the early 90s, loved doing the newspaper clipping stuff.
Mhm.
I love it. They frame it like you got Bombay
Bombay versus
versus
Riley.
Riley. Right? It's like, remember 20 years ago?
And they have it like the poster for Face Off.
Yes. Exactly. They just Face Off stole this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like
yeah. So rather, Face Off's poster is like
Lane Smith,
the
Emilio Estevez.
Mighty Ducks.
We're gonna have Nicolas Cage and John Travolta.
Yes.
So the game gets going, and the Hawks come out to like an early lead, like 2-0, right?
Yeah. And then the Ducks get a goal, and they're still then the Hawks get another one.
Close, and the coach is already angry. This shouldn't be this close. Like,
We should
hey,
be up by
maybe if you
10
brought that
goals.
fire
Mhm.
to the game 20 years ago,
Yeah.
if you had told them the entire time, this game should not be that close. We should be winning this game
And
like this.
Fulton
They would have won that game.
has a crush on Tammy.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And at one point in the game, Tammy gets checked or something.
He scored a goal. She scored a goal, and then actually was like doing like her figure skating twirl after the goal.
That's right.
One of the Hawks came and knocked her down.
That's right. And so when that Hawk is over like celebrating with his team, Fulton just comes up behind him and flips him upside down.
Looks up on the
Dumps him
bench
to the
and then
bench.
starts trying to fight the whole bench. Yep. They give him
Was
a
that
game
before-
misconduct, and Gordon's like, "You barely touched him."
He just picked him up and tossed him onto the bench.
But that was after Banks got hit, right?
That was after Banks.
That was after
Yeah,
Banks started hit. Yeah,
Banks
because
got hit earlier in the game. We kind of talked about it earlier. Like, he gets hit from behind and gets knocked out of the game. They had to take him off on a stretcher.
so he's knocked out of the game because that was So that was Riley's main thing. He's like, I know how good Banks is. We need to get him out.
And that was the whole thing. My job.
Yeah, that was the whole. Yeah, the kid knocks Banks into the goal.
All they give him is a minor penalty.
Yeah, and and then one of the kids is like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "My job." It's like,
So, and that's when Jesse talks to him. Like,
they give him
like,
2 minutes
like,
in the
he kicks
penalty
him
box.
He tells him like kick Hawk butt, right? So it goes on, and then the game gets closer, and the Hawks take the lead again, and then the Ducks come back and they tie it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And obviously, it's a sports movie in the 90s, gotta have some predictability that's, it's going to come down to a penalty shot again.
Yep. Yep.
And Charlie's able to get, a breakaway.
First, they're like, because Charlie was able to make the tying goal, isn't he?
Yes. Right.
Yeah. So then they're like, okay, then, Charlie gets hit.
Yeah, he gets a breakaway on it, and then he gets pulled down as time
Yeah, he gets pulled down. Yeah, he gets hooked.
So it's
They
5-5.
hook his ankle. And then, they're like,
And
anybody
now
can
it's
take
no
the
time
shot. Like, anybody can take the shot, the penalty shot.
Okay, I'm gonna debunk that because he was the one that got put
I know.
in real
I know.
hockey.
I know. Yeah.
He was the one that got it no matter what. That's not.
It would have happened.
Yeah. Yeah. But in the movie, the ref says anybody can take the shot.
It's like, oh, Guy should do it.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, Guy.
Yeah, everybody's like, Guy should do it. He's our best shooter. And then Gordon's like, well, why not Charlie? And everybody's like, Charlie?
Why?
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot.
But Gordon wanted Charlie to do it because Gordon told Charlie the story about him taking the penalty shot 20 years ago.
And Charlie's like, and Charlie.
And Charlie is like his surrogate son.
If it'd been a quarter inch the other way,
It would have gone in.
hero.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought of it that way. And he tells him, like, just triple deke. You do the triple deke. So he gets up there, and, he goes again. And then he goes on the glove side of the goalie, and he shoots them. And they win.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! They all,
Yep.
everyone cheers.
Yep.
You
And
believe
Coach
in
Riley
miracles?
looks down. It's like, I don't have anyone to blame for this loss. Who am I gonna? What kid am I gonna berate this time?
The goalie.
Yeah, you should have stopped him.
You didn't stop him.
Stopped him.
You didn't stop that puck.
Bro, why didn't
You
you're
weren't
a
fat enough.
football. Why didn't you stop him?
You weren't Goldberg.
You weren't Goldberg. Why weren't you fat like Goldberg?
No. What's never explained is what prompted Banks and his family to join the Ducks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Banks,
Yeah, back then,
I'm sure
people
just
didn't get to
wanted to
play.
play hocked, and that was the only way that he
Yeah.
could. So,
I guess they just figured like that the league was that I guess really what it was is that Gordon wasn't going to let it go.
Yeah.
And the league was going to side with Gordon.
Yeah, because the league drew the lines.
Yep.
And yeah, he was legally on the Ducks' side.
Anyway, and they won. Like, yay, yes.
Mm-hmm.
They won. Happy Disney. Yes, they won.
Now we get, we flash forward a few days, and the entire team is outside a Greyhound station. And
and we missed
tryout.
We missed Jesse calling Banks cake eater, but this time, not as an insult.
That's right.
It was more of a jug like cake eater. Yeah.
Did Goldberg say cake? Someone said cake. I want some cake.
I like cake.
I could go for some cake right now.
Those Oreo cakes. Oh my goodness. Woo! Chocolate Oreo cake. Yeah.
And then, as he gets on the bus, he tells them, I'll see you next season.
Mm-hmm.
They all cheer.
Because Gordon is getting on the bus to go try out for the minors.
And that's a story for D2, the Mighty Ducks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Gordon makes out with Charlie's mom. Before he gets on the
whole
bus.
Team sees it.
Because he goes and he says goodbye to each of the players, and then he really says goodbye to Charlie's mom.
Well, maybe he was going to miss her most of all.
It's when Sam Elliott says, but I hear there's a little Elliott. There's a little Bombay.
There's a little Bombay.
No, we don't know there's a little Bombay on the way.
No, we don't. But it's pretty clear that the two of them did more than just kissing throughout the movie.
Hey.
They went and had their coffee.
And a cigarette. That's the Mighty Ducks. Any other thoughts?
No, it was a good feel good movie.
Yeah, it was great watching it again. It has been decades since I've seen it, and it was great sitting down and watching it.
I actually watched it with Charles, and he loved watching it.
Yeah,
so it was great to watch it.
I had to watch it with Dana, with my sister's kids. It's fun. My nephew will like it.
Yeah. I forgot there. I mean, I remembered most of this movie, but I had forgotten some key parts.
Yeah,
and
definitely. I think it definitely has retained its spot kind of rightfully as kind of one of the better kind of Disney sports or kids movies. It's not just Disney, I guess, just kids sports movies from the 90s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we did The Sandlot back in September, which has a rightful place towards the top of that list.
Mm-hmm.
And this should be remembered as well for good reason. So
yeah, do we have anything else we want to say about it?
I think I'm good.
I'm good,
I think we summed it well.
All right. Well, if anyone wants to follow us on social media, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram and Threads. This is Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. The and is spelled out. A&D. It's not an ampersand like the name of the podcast. We are also on X or Twitter. It is R&T Cinematic. And then if you want to check out our reviews on various movies, some we've done on the podcast, some we haven't done, some we will do, some we won't do, then check out our Letterboxd. That is Cine Adventure or Cine Adventure, CINE Adventure. And if you want to just let us know what you thought about Mighty Ducks. Is it your favorite hockey movie? Is it not your favorite hockey movie? Do you prefer D3 over Mighty Ducks?
Or D2.
Or D2.
Or are you a Slapshot fan?
Or
a Miracle fan?
Do you like Miracle?
Yeah. Or do you like the cutting edge?
Go be very contrarian and say Mystery Alaska.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your favorite? What's your favorite hockey movie? Just let us know what you think. You can email us at robandtonyscinematicadventure@gmail.com. Once again, the and is spelled out. A&D is not an ampersand like the name of the podcast. But yeah, let us know what you think. What did you think of this movie? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you too young to have seen it when it came out? Or were you too old to have really wanted to see it when it came out? What do you think? Or if you want to let us know, if you have any ideas of movies that you think maybe we should cover on the podcast, let us know. But if you enjoy what you're hearing, then go ahead and go to our social media, give us a like and a follow, go to your favorite podcast app, hit that subscribe button, give us a good rating, a good review. That's how we move up in the standings and the rankings and the ratings and the search and the recommendations. And that way we can reach a wider audience and bring more fantastic episodes to your ears. Some great discussions about these awesome movies that we love so much. But you can join us next time. We're going to be talking about another movie from the 90s, but this time it's a little bit later in the 90s. It's 97.
We're switching genres. We're not going to 90s sports movies.
No.
We're going to 90s disaster movies.
Yes. We're going to be talking about that classic Pierce Brosnan.
James Bond.
Sorry. That classic James Bond movie that's not actually a Bond movie, but it has James Bond in it. Dante's Peak.
It's got a volcano lair in it. Come on.
It's also got Linda Hamilton. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Dante's Peak. Or sorry, it has Sarah Connor, not Linda Hamilton. James Bond, Sarah Connor, classic, Dante's Peak.
And a lot of coffee.
Yes, a lot of coffee. A guy who gets way too excited about coffee.
A lot of ash and a lot of coffee.
Yes. But, Tim, it was great having you back on the podcast.
We love having you on. Join us again soon,
blast,
please.
guys.
Yes, join us again soon. Because, yeah, we love having you on. It's always great talking with you. It's always great remembering these movies with you, all that. Do you have anything that you would like to plug? Any projects you're working on, anything like that?
Yeah. Give me a listen on the Timinator on Cool Oldies 1450 WTHU. Oldies Radio, if you like Oldies Radio, check us out, WTHUradio.com. And on the Timinator, you can listen online. And you can shoot me an email too. Tim@WTHUradio.com. Let me know what you think, and I'll give these guys a plug as well on Monday.
And you're working on a podcast, right? Is that still in the works?
It's kind of still in the works, so I'll have more information on that one.
All right, awesome. Then we won't reveal the name of it just yet until you get it a little bit more going.
More solidified.
All right. Well, anyway, thanks again, Tim, for joining us. Please join us again soon. And yeah, join us next time for Dante's Peak.